Hey, what's going on? This is Kayne Frost, and I wanted to talk about women who've been ran through and who actually still get wet. So, it's crazy with the younger generation of females. They don't really respect their bodies to find a decent person, that they just sleep around with multiple dudes and just, trying to, they like the hotness of a guy. They don't really care to get to know the person. They don't really care to, find out what they like doing, all their interests and ideas. They just like the whole aspect of how hot a guy is. The way he smells, his cologne, the way he looks, if he's in shape, the way he wears his hairstyle, the clothes, the social status, how tall he is. So many other features. They look at that. Even older women too, it doesn't matter, but I'm saying it's mainly the younger generation. But they see all that kind of stuff, and then that really excites them, and then they just want to sleep around, and then maybe if that's the right guy, they'll try to change the guy, and if he's a player or whatever, try to make him, their boyfriend or whatever. But that's usually down the road, and usually these girls will have a big roster and will be sleeping around with multiple men. Now, here's the crazy part, is men do this too, and the thing about the difference between the two is that when a man does it, you see, he can just do that kind of stuff and move on without feelings getting attached. A woman trying to act as a man in, the sex department, as far as for, sleeping around, they're not built for that kind of stuff. Even though females say, that doesn't matter, there's no feelings, they can just do that kind of stuff. It's really not, because a woman takes in, and when she takes in a guy, then she's taking in all of the, things that he's got going on in his life, all of his energy and stuff. And she's taking that inside her, and it's building up inside of her. So if she has 10 guys she's been sleeping with in the past month, and all these guys are low level vibrational dudes, that they don't got a whole lot going on in their lives, and that's all wearing in on her, and that's going to be affecting her mind, her attitude, a lot of things going on with her. It's going to really affect. So if these guys are bummy dudes who are struggling in life with jobs, finances, relationships, and they're sleeping with this girl, that's all being put on to her. And now she's taking all that in, and the more times that she doesn't give pauses, let's say she was with a guy for 2 weeks, and she should be actually with nobody for 2 weeks until she starts seeing somebody else again. But if a woman is seeing a guy every week or whatever, in a month, 10 guys, there's no time to space and energy to recalibrate and get yourself back together. You're taking on, she would be taking on multiple energies, and depending on where those dudes are at, that could be bringing her down all the time and putting her in depression and all this other stuff, looking for the guy to actually bring her up in life, and that's pretty much never going to happen. And the bad thing, when a guy is doing, let's say he's sleeping around, if he runs into a woman like this who's being ran through like that, he's taking on her energy too. So that's where it messes up. And a guy, when a guy and girl should be getting together, the guy should be happy in his life and the girl should be happy in her life, and you guys are just making things happen because you're two happy people. If she's over here getting all this negative energy and she's going through all this stuff, and this guy happens to run into his world, it's going to affect his mentality state too, just because he's trying to get in and get out. No, all that stuff is energy related, and he's going to be sharing that, what she shared, maybe not so much, but just a little bit. But as he continues to see this girl, it's going to feed off on him more and more. So if he has a bad, or let's say he has a business going on and things are okay, and she has all this financial stuff and relationship and all this love stuff going on that's not good, the more he connects with her and physical, and he's talking to her and all this other stuff, it's going to draw him in, and it's going to start affecting his life just like hers. So that's what it is, man. It's like a girl can't compete with a guy being ran through And as much as they can try to do that, you know, as fun as they might, like I said, if they're young, then it might not mentally phase them as much because their mind is still not fully developed and grown and know what they want in life. So that kind of might, you know, just not really apply to them because they still haven't figured it all out. But I guarantee you, once they start figuring it out, they're going to try. The smart girls are going to wisen up from that hoed out phase, you know, that ran through phase. But some who never developed that mentality state, maybe they might develop later in life in their late mid-30s or something, then they're really going to be ran through. You know what I'm saying? And not just the emotional part and also the mental part, but also the physical part too. Because girls just being ran through are also being, you know, they're being stretched out. You know, they're being widened out too. So when they do find a good guy, he comes in, and the stuff's all ran through and stretched out. He's gonna be like, yeah, I don't want to deal with this kind of girl. And I've known guys that get with girls that are pretty good looking. They're like, man, this girl's worn out. They don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. They want a girl who's, you know, who's tight and in shape and stuff like that. So, you know, girls, they gotta think about that kind of stuff. And if they don't, then that's on them. You know, like I said, they should be given time and space. If they're dating one guy for 4 months, they should be not dating a guy for 4 months and to recollect themselves and then figure themselves out, all the mistakes they made, and then start dating somebody else. But if they date some guy for 4 months and then jump on another guy within a month, there's no time and space, and they're just constantly jumping from guy to guy, relationship to relationship, and never works out. They never get to figure who they are, what they want, and where do things go bad. You know, they're what they want better in the next partner. They're so fast to move on to the next guy that it never sinks into them, and they'll always continue to have bad relationships. Like I said, until they're older, mid-30s, you know, and they've had a couple of kids and they've seen all their mistakes. The problem is all those, yeah, not mistakes, kids are not mistakes, but to a guy, they look at that like, you know, hey, why did you have a baby with this guy and he's not around? Why are you having another baby with 2 different dads? Why they ain't around? You could, as a female, could sit there and be saying, oh, that was just a mistake or whatever. That just shows you that you have poor choices in men. That's a big thing when men evaluate women, you know, because the last thing a single guy wants to do with no kids is to come in and be a stepdad to kids that aren't even his, you know, and take that role. Very, very, very rare guys would do that are not their kids, but most of the times those kids have their own set ways, and they're not going to like the guy. They're not going to be able to discipline them because it's not their kids, and the mom's going to be, you know, always taking the kid's side on everything. So it's going to eventually push the guy out where he's just going to be frustrated because he has no authority in the house, and the kids are always going to be one up over him no matter how old they are, because they're not his kids. So the guys like that in those situations are pretty much not going to want to be with a girl. They might try it, they're not going to like it, and then they'll end up bouncing. Girl might be really, really, really cool, and it's their ideal type of girl, but the kids are going to play a major factor in that, and that can actually turn a guy away. Be like, you know what, I don't care how good this girl is, man, I can't deal with her kids. I have known friends that do that, and they don't want to be in that situation, you know. So that's another thing with these women, man, with these women getting ran through. You know, it's crazy I said and still wet, it's because they still look good, but the physical part could be still stretched out. There could be a girl who's ran through, still gets wet, still make the guy like, wow, it feels kind of good, but there can be a lot of other things behind that the women just do not consider. And again, man, if you're a guy, and I like that, listen, I like girls who's had multiple partners. Well, I don't really like a girl who's had the least amount of partners. I've been there, done that, and I always find women who've had multiple partners, to me, more appealing, more attractive, because they pretty much know what they want and what they don't want, and I like that. And I've dealt with other women too who have a low body count and stuff like that. It is okay, but it's a lot of, it's just, they're in my type of field or my type of sex drive, it's not an ideal match in the sex area. because, you know, I kind of want more, and then they're usually more shy about it and more, you know, seclusive about it, and want to do more extravagant things to make something happen. And I don't like that. I don't like it if I'm dealing with somebody and we got to go somewhere to a certain place, and it has to be a certain setting, and it has to be, all these things have to be aligned so perfectly just to have sex and just for her to have this perfect orgasm. And I'm like, I don't like that. I'd rather just go somewhere and have a good time, dinner or whatever, and afterwards and you know, do what you got to do. I don't have to go somewhere, fly to Paris and eat at this certain restaurant and all this, do a walk around this certain thing around at nighttime to get the girl's, you know, sex drive up to a certain point where now she's ready. No, I'm good. I'm good with all that. And I'm not talking about, you know, a good girl who's just, you know, like a high, that she just wants to be one guy and have a high sex drive. Those are very, very, very rare, like 0.01% rare. But for the most part, a lot of these girls that don't have a high sex drive really are, they see sex that it has to be placed on this highest pedestal, and they're this kind of queen to be romanced before you can get in the box. And I don't like that kind of stuff. So I'm more on the other side. But there's also the other side. What I'm talking about is when you're too ran through, and you're way ran through, multiple dudes, you know, over, a woman to me has been with over 100 dudes, and she's like 25, that's ran through. And if she's 30 and has been through 200 dudes, that's ran through. You know what I'm saying? So after 200 and you're 30, that's way ran through. I mean, you've been trying to act, it's just going to be hard for that girl to ever find a guy that she really likes and be in a relationship with that guy, because she's had so many dudes up inside her that it's going to be really hard for her to take some guy serious and want to be settled down and be in a relationship and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can sit there and say, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. I mean, yeah, that's true. You know, what I'm saying is that just that many dudes that she never really taken anybody seriously, and now some guy's supposed to come in and do it all right. That guy, whoever she chooses, is gonna be in a major head spin at every point. He's never gonna know if she's coming, going, cheating, he likes him, doesn't like him. Everything's gonna be hot and cold all the time. And it's gonna be crazy, you know. It just is. I feel for that guy who gets in that situation. I'm not saying it can't change, but that guy's gonna have a really hard time trying to contain her and his jealousy and his insecurities. He has to be on point 100%, and he has to know that he's gonna trust 100%, because that trust factor with a girl like that is gonna be like sketchy. And she should be able to tell him all the dudes that she slept, so he can determine if he wants to be with her or not. Because if she doesn't, and he finds out that later, then that might play in a role that he's gonna bounce. But if he's willing to accept it, basically, she's like a call girl, and he's gonna determine if he wants to change this call girl, or once former call girl, into his girlfriend or wife or something, because that's a lot of dudes. And I feel, you know, the girls that do that and don't really care about that stuff, you know, I feel for them. I mean, 'cause yeah, when you're drunk and you're at a club, all that sounds pretty sexy and all that stuff, but when you're sober and you have your head on straight and now you're thinking about everything, it really hits you differently, you know. So yeah, that's about it, man, on the girls that are ran through. It's a really dicey situation if you're really trying to make something out of that, and you know, it's gonna be almost impossible. So I hope you find out if the girl is like that, if you're gonna try to get with this girl. But if you're just sleeping around, I just want you to know, just because you sleep with her, don't think that her energy is not going to affect you, because it will. And it's going to show you what type of person you are and what you're willing to go through just to sleep with a girl. If you know these things and do sleep with her, don't think you're not going to have repercussions after the fact. There are going to be a lot of consequences and stuff after that, because you might get more of that. You might get this one girl, and the next 10 girls you're going to sleep with are all going to be ran through. And then you're going to start thinking, man, are all these girls ran through? Yeah, because what you seek and what you attract is what you will keep getting. You gotta understand that, and that energy is gonna rub off on you, especially when you know it. I do have friends who are like, man, I wish I could get better girls, and I'm like, but look at all the girls you're dating. You know, you're not dating quality women, so you're basically showing the universe that that's all I want. I'm good with used up women, so the universe is going to keep giving it to you until you start rejecting that and say, I want something more high class, more valuable, some chick that has her head on her shoulders, who doesn't want to sleep around with a lot of dudes. That's the chick I want, and you're going to have to reject a lot of girls to get there. But once you get there, it's a good state of being, because you're going to have a lot of girls coming at you who are not ran through. And you might have some that are ran through just kind of here and there, but you vet them, realize it, and be like, nah, I'm good. But if you don't, just know there's consequences. All right, man, that's about it for this one. If you like this, please hit the like and subscribe button to my channel. Till the next time, man, rock on and peace.